It is spooky season, and you know what that means. Spooky art. That's right, folks. We're doing some Halloween artwork today. Now, before we get into the art piece itself, let's get into some backstory as per usual. So, back in the spring of 2021, right as I was getting back into Bionicle, I conceived a series of OCs for My Hero Academia that were based on the Toa Mata / Toa Nuva. Their codenames were the names of the Toa they were representing, while their quirks for their respective elemental powers. And then they also had masks that would augment their costumes with secondary powers like the original Toa did. I made profiles for each of them, which I need to update at some point given my current art style, which I'll link in the description below. Anyways, I've been wanting to do more with them recently, but I haven't been able to figure out a good excuse. So I figured maybe some Halloween art might be a good opportunity to draw them again. Now that that's out of the way, we can finally move on to the piece. For this, the idea was just to have them walking down in a suburban area in their costumes, with Kon Michirin, aka Takanuva, leading the way, and Momori Hikawa, aka Tahu, meeting up with them. For those curious about their costumes, Ko's dress is what can only be described as a mix between a Grim Reaper and a Plague Doctor. I was intending on solely being a Grim Reaper, but I ended up taking inspo from a Plague Doctor, so I ended up deciding on it being a mix between both. Anyways, Golden Deer, aka Lima, is a Wendigo, which ended up befitting him given that he is of Algonquian heritage. Kai Kakoa, aka Gali, is a witch whose wand is patterned after the weapon that comes with her hero costume. Tahu's Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. Balor Irdencraft, aka Onua, is a zombified version of Honeydew from the Yogscast. Basically, the idea with him was, you know how Granny Bacon was turned into a zombie? Well, what if she wasn't killed off? What if somehow she managed to infect poor Honeydew? That's what basically came to mind. Anyways, Put LeBlanc, aka Kopaka, is Kagero from Kamen Rider Revised due to both of them having cold personalities. And finally, Asin Al-Hassa, aka Boharu, is Disney's version of Aladdin, due to them both being of Middle Eastern origin. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I do not have much experience with drawing people from a side perspective, so you'll have to bear with me in case something looks off. Aside from that though, I am pretty proud of how everybody turned out looking in their costumes. The background was interesting though. It was kind of tricky coming up with door and window designs on the spot, but I ended up liking the designs I chose. You'll see later, but I think the leftmost building ended up becoming my favorite, and I really liked how I was able to mix and match all the designs to make it look right. It was also kind of tricky for me to remember how I did the moon, but I think I did good on it. What's this? More time to spare and I don't have that much to say about my art piece? Well, that won't be tolerated. Here's a life update to fill in some room. So as of the time of this recording, I'm just about halfway through with my second mandatory internship for college and currently set with all my courses for the spring. I still have this upcoming spring and summer left for my senior year in college, and then I'll be graduated and out about in the real world looking for a place to live and work. For those curious about my degree, my major is mechanical engineering and I'm trying to get into some manufacturing classes. I did have some trouble with that initially, but thankfully for the spring, I was able to finally squeeze something in for an elective. For part of my curriculum, students are required to take 2 internships to gain experience in the engineering field. My first co-op back in the spring didn't go so well. I ended up enduring a couple tough conversations and I ended up slipping from full-time to part-time halfway through. Thankfully, my second co-op is going a lot better and so far I am not having any issues. My days at work are admittedly long, especially since I have to commute, but I am managing and the job pays well. In the future though, I do hope to live somewhere close to where I work. Unfortunately, I do not have any plans for Halloween this year outside of the sketch. I did, however, recently take part in a Halloween party my college costume club was having. I went to the event with Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty and ended up getting a prop Morty at the last minute for a fun little masquerade for the judges. Unfortunately, I didn't win the contest, but I had some fun. That said, I would like to apologize for not being as active as I should be this fall. Like many of us, I have real-world stuff going on that needs to be addressed so I can continue to maintain this hobby of mine. I hope you can understand. Alright, I think we are just about getting ready to wrap things up around here. Thanks so much for tuning into the speed paint. Hopefully you guys like my pace for Halloween this year. And I hope your Halloween goes well this year as well. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll find another excuse to draw these characters again since they hold a significant place in my heart. And that I'll be able to improve my ability to write scripts that take up more room in these kinds of videos. With that said, I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye!